Hi, good evening. Thank everyone that's made it out tonight in this dark night. Um, Laura's going to be taking care of videoing some stuff for our YouTube channel. And I want to thank everyone that's been helping us. We've all been doing little things. Next week is our dinner. And we're not going to have any winter meetings. We're going to meet in the spring. But I would like to meet, and I can send out an email for us to do we could either use Skype or Google Meet. I don't know how to do it on Skype with making appointments or for the date, but I can do a Google Meet, and I think we're limited to 50 minutes on that, that's fine. Get to talk, keep in touch over the winter, throw ideas together. Roy, maybe tonight, mention a couple of walks you thought would be good for the spring. Someone comes across one for the winter, mention it or email me and I'll let everybody know. Just let me know what's happening during the winter. The dinner next week, I'd like to meet at 6 o'clock. If you can't make it to 6:30, let me know. The meetings that we meet online through Skype or Google Meet or whatever we decide to use at the time, if someone wants to lead the meeting instead of me, you're welcome to. If someone has any paid software, you're even more welcome to, because then we can go over that 50 minutes or an hour. What we'll do is we just keep together, throw ideas together. Sometimes we've shown a picture and we discuss the picture, which is kind of nice, and give each other more ideas to keep us going. Roy's going to speak tonight, and I'll let him have the stage and go for it.
Good evening, everybody. Before I go into my spiel, I want to make something perfectly clear, and that is when I do a review of something, whether it's here or on YouTube or on our Facebook page, the opinions I express are entirely my own. I am not paid, compensated, or whatever by anybody to say anything. In fact, Kyle, my boss, he doesn't know what I'm talking about. Has no clue. So I'm entirely on my own. First thing I want to talk about, you may recall if you've been on our Facebook page, several months ago I did a review on the ProMaster achromatic close-up filters. I'd like to make a slight addendum to that, and that is which lens should you use for your camera. And that's going to depend on what focal length of lens you are using. So if the longest lens you have is 210 millimeters or less, I would recommend the +5. And let me tell you, at 135 millimeters, the +5 is a wicked macro combination. You can get little flowers, about an inch, practically fill the frame. If you are using, say, a lens that gets out to 300, 350 millimeters, I would recommend the +3. Yes, you can use the +5 on a longer lens like that, but once you get zoomed out to like 300 millimeters, it's almost impossible to use because your depth of field is so shallow. Speaking of depth of field, when you are doing macro work, your depth of field, in other words, the distance from front to back in your subject that's going to be in focus, the closer you get to your subject, the less depth of field you have. For example, if you go down to Hidden Lake Gardens, they have, as of Sunday, they have one bird of paradise flower in bloom. We're speaking of flower, you've seen it. It's the one that's kind of a long spike and spikes coming off the sides in orange and blue. If you haven't, go down there and see it. It's pretty cool. It's about this long. Everybody photographs it from the side for a reason, because if you try to photograph it head on, which could make a cool shot, even at f/32 with a 300 millimeter lens, you can't get the whole thing in focus. Your depth of field is too shallow. The other trick for macro work is you want to have the back of your camera as close to parallel with your subject as possible. So now that I've got the addendum, I'm going to start by talking about a few items that you can get either order through Picture This Jackson, or if you're going to be cheap and chintzy and not support your local camera store, shame on you, You can order it directly from ProMaster, ProMaster.com. First one is something that we're using right now, and that is the light that is on the top of the camera. It is the ProMaster, let's see, what do they call it? Small block WR LED light, which is a water resistant LED light. It's a small little guy, it's only about this big. It throws a lot of light. You can get it from ProMaster for $60. And what's really interesting are some of the accessories that come with it. Right now, on the light itself, I have a diffusing panel, but it also comes, if you like playing studio type lighting, some of you may remember seeing something like this in a larger scale. This is what is called a barn door. You put it on the light and you can control where the light from your little light there goes. There's also some filters, a grid, and like I say, $60, and it throws a pretty good amount of light. Next thing I'm going to talk about, you may remember at the last meeting I talked about the Jasper Half Pack, which is the carry camera and a couple lenses and maybe a flash. This is the carry everything to include the darkroom sink edition. This is called the Cityscape 75. I should also point out, when I'm talking about an item, unless I totally say, yeah, stay away from this item, do not use this, do not automatically assume I'm saying, yeah, go out and buy this. What I'm saying is, if you're looking for an item like this, you might want to consider this. This is a bag that will carry, well, everything. If you happen to carry a long lens, I don't know if everybody can see that, but yeah, this will easily hold. Right now I have a camera, 4 lenses, 5 lenses, a flash unit, the close-up filters, also tripod, flashes to the other side. One of the things I really like about this bag is that when you have it on your shoulders, notice where the zipper for the main compartment is. It's right up against your back. So nobody is going to come up behind you on a crowded street and unzip your bag and steal your stuff. They're going to have to get it off your back first, which is pretty cool. One of the other nice things, if I can do this without strangling myself, is the way this belt works. Because if you need to get into your camera bag, take the shoulder straps off, sling it around, unzip, this flips up, you can reach in there. And the other thing that's kind of nice about this is that this is a convenient table for doing whatever you need to do. You need to change a lens, no problem. You need to swap batteries, memory cards, boom, you got a workspace to work on. And you don't have to worry about putting your camera bag down in the dirt and getting it dirty, which is pretty darn cool. This is the Cityscape 75. There is a slightly smaller version called the Cityscape 71. And this guy will hold just about anything and everything. Any questions? Going once? Knew you were going to ask that. I want to say it's about 160. I'd have to double check, and I can look that up for you. Side pockets you can use for whatever. This is a rain cover. So also straps so you can lash things to it. If you have a accessory pocket or a lens pouch that has one of those, what they call a MOLLE, M-O-L-L-E attachment, where it's a strap that goes around there, you got a connection there, a connection there. Oh, I almost forgot. I mentioned the darkroom sink. Laptop sleeve. This will hold a 15-inch laptop, and the other thing I discovered purely by accident is that, let's say you go down to Hidden Lake Gardens, and it's getting a little bit chilly, so you're wearing a jacket as you walk into the greenhouse. You get into the tropical dome, and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, it's warm. You want to take your jacket off. Guess what? That laptop sleeve is a perfect spot to stuff a small jacket. Pocket after pocket, so memory cards, batteries, plus pockets. If you can't carry everything in this bag, you either have way too much camera gear, or you are just not packing it efficiently. All right. I guess I should have had a title slide, but this is, shall we say, a basic intro to black and white digital. Now, is there anybody here who is colorblind? Okay, so we all see in color, and the world is full of nice, colorful subjects like this male prothonotary warbler. Next slide, please. Fireworks over Niagara Falls. And of course, if you've been reading any books on photography, they say when you're photographing outdoors, next slide, please, you ideally want to be shooting during what is called the golden hour, an hour, hour and a half after sunrise, hour and a half before sunset. So you get, and by the way, this screen does not exactly do the image justice, but here's the question. Next slide, please. What happens when you get to the Grand Canyon and it's like the middle of the day and it's hazy and it's like, next slide, please. And it's really blah. And again, the screen here does not exactly, it's not perfect for the image, but it'll do. What do? Well, next slide. Convert them to black and white. And doing this, couple of things that you need to keep in mind when you're shooting for black and white. Color gives you an unfair advantage because, color draws your attention. When you're dealing with a blah subject, you don't have that color to kind of pull the image. So what you have to look for, you have to look for line, you have to look for form, you have to look for shape, you have to look for texture. And so, can we have the next slide, please? Right? So here's a quickie on how to do things. Convert a color image to black and white. So kind of a blah midday shot. Next slide, please. So what I did to make it better, I start off. So I created a new layer. And by the way, just so you know, I do my editing in Adobe Photoshop Elements 2.0. We're speaking a program that's almost 20 years old. Okay, so you don't need the latest and greatest. I started off by creating a layer to make the sky brighter. And if you look over here, you see that black? What I'd done, let me come over here, is I'd taken the brush tool and I painted all of this so it didn't get as dark as the sky. Next slide, please. Okay, now here, what I'd done was I'd added a second layer. This is for the building, and you notice how much lighter the building has gotten. And if you look up here, what I'd done was I painted the sky so it didn't get washed out. Next slide, please. Then the final step of making it black and white is I created what is known as a hue saturation layer. Hue saturation layer. Hue is spelled H-U-E. And if you look on Photoshop Elements, it's just layer, drop down, new adjustment layer. And then next slide, please. And then I did one final thing, and that was I added a contrast layer and bumped it up a little. And next. So here is the original color. Now you might be thinking, well, heck, why don't I just simply use the black and white mode in the camera. Next slide. Meh, it's okay. Next slide. But I think that's better. Any questions? Oh, wait a minute. Not done yet. One more. Okay, so another use for black and white is if you got a small spot of color that you want to draw attention to. See this little flower here? Kind of gets lost. Next slide. Oh, it worked before, doggone it. Okay, go back if you would. Please, thank you. So one of the things you can do, unfortunately my slide is not behaving today, curses. After you've created your hue saturation layer, you can then go back with the paintbrush tool and paint this and paint this, so it is the only spot of color in an otherwise black and white image. You want to do a portrait that has total pizzazz? Do a close-up head and shoulders portrait of, say, somebody with bright blue eyes. Convert it to black and white like I talked about, and then just put the color back in the eyes. How? The first time I saw this technique done was when I worked, not at Picture This Jackson, but the camera store that I worked at before, well, 2 camera stores ago. And we got in a workstation for doing Photoshop, and the guy who was demonstrating it, he took a photograph of the girlfriend of the boss's son, and she just had on a pale peach lip gloss, nothing bold or red or anything. And he did this where he turned the image to black and white, and then he put the color, just masked for her lips. And the first words out of her mouth was, "My lip gloss doesn't look like that!" And when he turned off the black and white, it's like, oh, in a full color image, it's not that noticeable, but black and white, bam, stuck out like a sore thumb. Any questions? Going once? Going twice? Okay, I'm going to escape while I still have my sanity.
Thank you. Appreciate
So I
it.
think this is all done, yeah.
Yeah,
All right, thank you.
you're very welcome.
Okay, today's assignment was transportation. I'm sure we're gonna have a wide variety of stuff here.
I like it. I like the color.
For sure. One of the nice things I like about it is the way the train is at a diagonal, which is really nice. I mean, if you'd photographed the train head on, it wouldn't have looked half as good.
And the smoke shows
Yep.
the motion.
Yep.
Okay. Boom.
Now it's transportation.
A ski lift?
Yeah, you got it.
Took me a while to figure it out. Then I saw the chair. I'm like, okay.
Okay,
I was not able to walk down at this time on the other side and take a picture the other way too well from the ground like I wanted, but yeah, it's Crystal Mountain.
Again, interesting. I like the color of the sky, the diagonal. I mean, I will confess, it would have been like, whoa, wow.
Goodness.
now that,
Rotary snowplow. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what that is?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm saying making a tunnel?
Well, when you get lots of snow in the mountains, you can get a
Yeah,
tunnel.
that's true.
Especially in Alaska,
yeah,
which is where that is.
Gotcha.
yeah.
You
You
can
usually
also
see
see-
something like that out west around the mountains or something.
Yep.
Yeah. You can also see the little handcart on the far left, so I figured that was also transportation.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and away we go.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, no, that's definitely transportation, good old
Yeah.
fashioned
Quite make it out.
transportation.
What kind of twist?
Lemon.
Lemon, okay.
Now, forgive me for saying this, assuming that the car was yellow, this might have been a good one to do one of those,
Oh, yeah.
just make the car itself yellow and leave everything else black and white. Because one of the things to me, is your subject, yeah, it kind of stands out because it's in front, but because everything is the same monochromatic color, it also kind of blends in with the background, whereas if it'd been, standout yellow, pow.
Or more of a bokeh in the background.
Yeah, yeah,
I thought it might make it look more timeless, because it was at a car show with a bunch of bright colors all over. So it's kind of
yeah.
retro look, but yeah, that would be cool too.
See the back window? Yeah, the little car.
Yeah.
Oh, right there.
Yep,
Good spotting.
yep.
Oh, I love that.
That's cool.
Nice, I like that.
That is interesting. Where was that taken?
Gilmore Car Museum.
Ah, okay.
I flew over there
That's
once.
almost set up to be something out of the Dust Bowl.
It
Yeah.
is, yeah.
Yeah,
Grapes of Wrath sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yep,
the background makes it look dusty.
yep.
That background was a pain in the behind because there were signs and all kinds of junk that I had to eliminate.
Mm.
Gotcha. Nicely done.
Very, very nice.
There's mist in the background.
I've seen that around Jackson.
Yep. One museum piece to another.
Yeah.
What's the name of the building in the background?
It's the Commerce Center, I think. It's on East Michigan.
Yeah.
Is that the Commerce Center, or is that the one over here on the Wildwood?
Well, I mean, this is the old Commerce Center. It's out East Michigan.
Commercial Exchange?
Thank you.
Alright.
Yeah, that was it, yeah.
As I say, there's that, isn't it, there's another building that they use for, the last couple of years, they always use it on Halloween. What is it, on Wildwood?
Michigan seat.
Is that what it is?
Yep, it was the original Michigan seat factory.
All right, thanks everybody for coming. Next Wednesday at 6 p.m. we're meeting at Knights Inn for our holiday dinner. We're going to do it in November instead of December. More people decided they'd rather go out on a cold November night than a cold December night. During the winter, we'll plan on at least once a month getting together online. We'll be looking for anybody that has a paid version of software that wants to do it, or we can just use Google Meet. That's what we used last time. And we'll try to do that once a month on a Wednesday or Thursday, and it'll be probably around 6:30, 7 o'clock. It's a good time. And I'll email a couple people out, and whatever the most people can make, whatever day it is, we'll make it that way. And in the spring, we want to start doing photo walks again, and we can do them in the winter if anyone wants to lead anyone. Roy wants to lead some. Any ideas for now, Roy?
Couple ideas for photo walks. Anytime you want, we can go down to Hidden Lake Gardens, which is pretty cool. Another possibility that just opened up is Mathai Botanical Gardens in Ann Arbor. They have different types of plants in each one. There are some plants they have at Hidden Lake Gardens that they don't have at Mathai, and vice versa. Another possibility, especially say late February, early March, would be Kensington Metro Park, which is by Brighton. The nice thing about Kensington is they have itty bitty little songbirds that'll come and eat literally out of your hand. Also, they have big birds that'll come and eat out of your hand called wild turkey and sandhill crane. And come early to mid-March, they have a great blue heron rookery where you can stand. I mean, granted, it's about 100 yards, but you'll be able to get the photos of the herons and the egrets coming and going. And also, they have bald eagles that hang out there. And we can always try other places at other times. I'm good.
Thanks, Roy. Send me an email or leave a message on Facebook. I try to get into Facebook a couple times a week. Any ideas for any learning stuff, put it on the Facebook page. I tried to do that a couple times a month, and probably start next month, once or twice a month, I'll put out, let's shoot a picture and put them under here of whatever it is. Maybe a holiday picture, or a snow picture, the downtown picture, and, you know, anything, like we did transportation tonight. We'll just pick a topic and we'll ask people to post under it. All right, everybody, we will see you hopefully next week. Bye.
Thank you.